Mic check 1, 2 as the love flows through. Charmaine in the booth got the truth for you. From breakups to makeups, heartbreaks and vows. Love Unfiltered's here, so listen up now. We talk real raw, we don't fake or censor. Dive into the deep with a love professor. Dating, marriage, heartbreaks and pain. No filter on love when it's hosted by Charmaine.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love Unfiltered with Charma M. I just wanted to possibly talk about myself a little bit more. I know with my first episode it was an introduction to the channel, what it's about, and a little bit about myself. But I want to dig deep into who Charmaine is, so you will understand the views that I will share in upcoming episodes, as well as just get to know me a little bit better, because like I said, I want this channel to feel like home. I want this channel to feel like you are talking to a friend, because essentially what I want to do is for us to have open and honest conversations, keep each other true and accountable to the decisions that we make. I know a lot of us out there, we don't really have people that we can speak to, and sometimes having a stranger's perspective gives you a different view that is not biased, and so I believe. Anyway, this journey of my life, I'd like to call self-awareness. It actually, interestingly enough, began, I'd say, about 5 years ago. A lot happened in the 5 years. I'm not going to go into the detail, but what I actually want to talk about is what has transpired since and the person that I've become since then. So the one thing that I did decide to do was to understand who Charmaine is. The one thing is, we are so consumed by everybody's version of us and the roles that we play. I know that for me in particular, different people view me in a different way. The people that I work with versus my family, versus my children, versus my partner if I'm in a relationship, they all tend to see a different version of me. And based on their perceptions, I've then sort of summarized who Charmaine is. But I needed to understand for myself who that person actually is, and what it is that who I aspire to be. I've had this idea of the woman that I want to become, but I had to actually introspect and ask myself some hard questions. Am I truly the woman that I want to be? Because there would be perceptions from other people that didn't resonate with the woman that I thought I was. But what I didn't actually realize, and what I didn't actually admit to, is that the woman that I thought I was actually the woman that I wanted to become. Now, the one thing that I did do, actually exactly 2 years ago, so April 2023, I made a decision to firstly cut off every single man in my life. And when I say man, I'm not just talking about my exes, I'm talking about platonic friendships as well. I wanted to limit the access that the opposite sex has to me. That means calling me randomly whenever they feel like, sending me text messages or whatever the case is. The one thing that I can honestly say and truthfully say is that I've never allowed my friendships with the opposite sex to impact the relationship that I would be in the sense that I've never crossed the line. But what I did find is that even though I would not cross the line from, a relational point of view, like I wouldn't cheat with my male friend or my ex or anything like that, there was still a toxic reason I was keeping them around my life. The one thing that I can now confess to is that a lot of those relationships were mostly about me than it was about them. It was keeping people in my life that had a distorted version of who Charmaine was. And a lot of them, they actually kept me fixated to a past or a version of me that no longer existed. These were people that have known me since I was in my teens and all the way through my early 20s. I'm 41, by the way. So I did realize is that the fragmented versions of me that they had wasn't actually the woman that I was at the point when I decided to cut them off. And the one thing that can do when you keep people that put you on some form of pedestal is that I just felt like my growth was within an echo chamber. I wasn't looking outside of the criticism of people that are only meeting Charmaine for the first time. I was holding on to the narrative that those people had built about who I am. But the honest truth was that they had fragments of my story. They didn't really know the real and the true version of who I was at that particular point. They knew me back in a certain point of my life, but they had not kept in contact or context into the person that I had become. So the thing is that they were somehow disruptive. They were disruptive in my growth. They were disruptive in me maturing. They were disruptive in the sense that they just kept me stagnant in a version of myself that I no longer wanted to be. The one thing I can honestly say now is that I've outgrown being a character in their stories. And I've outgrown being a character in their narratives of who I am. And I've honestly stopped confusing their attention for my self-worth. And I think I've made space for authentic relationships in my life. If at all, I still have any, because literally I can count the people that I'm still in close connection with, possibly with less than one of my hands. Because the one thing that I've also learned and I've picked up over the years is that true connection isn't about how people perceive you, but rather the growth that you gain from them. And what I mean by that is sometimes you stifle your own growth by keeping people in your life that are there to just hype you up, to give you fake applause. You need people that are going to be critical of the person that you are. You need people that are going to hold a mirror to you and say, listen, this is what you're doing. People that are going to hold you accountable. And sometimes your friends would actually applaud you for toxic behavior rather than correct you. So yeah, walking that journey alone, if I can put it like that, because sometimes it does feel like that. For the past 2 years, it's made me reflect a lot about who I am without the noise, without the praise, without people constantly applauding me for things that I know that are not worthy of applause. So essentially what I'm trying to say, and the message that I'm trying to bring across, is that sometimes in your life you need to filter out people that are no longer benefiting your growth or stifling your growth. You need to look at your friendships and think about what value they are adding to the person that you want to become. Because I can honestly say that there are people in your life that are there to just disrupt you, to distract you from fulfilling your destiny, from being the person that you are destined or God has destined you to be. Think about those people. Think about your close friends. Think about your close circle. Are they there because they are adding value to it? Or are they there because they are there for the applause? They're there to put you on a pedestal. They're there to reflect back a version of you that actually isn't the true version of who you are. Tell me about those stories. Tell me about instances in your life where you have actually walked away from people. How has that been? What have you learned from that? Because I can honestly say that the past 2 years, I've learned a lot about myself, and I've had to be critical of myself without constantly hearing people praise me for the things that I don't deserve to be praised. But yeah, until next time, keep watching, subscribe, like, share. Love always.